Plant a garden this year. Set your spiritual house in order. Make some preparation. Sit down with your family and say to every family member, okay, let's discuss something. In light of what's happening in America, what lifestyle are we going to be willing to live when the elite get through doing what they're doing?
More solutions with Lindsey Williams after this.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold for your IRA? The financial industry refuses to recognize the value of real hard assets for your retirement. The truth be told, gold and silver has outperformed paper investments like stocks, bonds, and CDs, yet no word about IRAs. Perhaps the financial institutions want to maintain control of your assets by keeping you in paper. If you'd like to take a look at gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low return on your paper investments. Call 800-686-2237. Make sure that you secure your future. Call 800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
All right, folks, we are back with Lindsey Williams. And at the end there, you were talking about some of the solutions, sitting down, talking to your family, being a human being, letting them know what's coming up. And we have loaded phone lines right now. But before we go back to the phones, Lindsey, I want to ask you, as a ordained minister, how do you feel about this occult connection? Because, the Bush boys, they're out of Skull and Bones, they're out of Bohemian Grove. I mean, every Republican president since Coolidge has been a member of the Grove. I mean, where does that come in your eyes?
Thank you so much, Jason, for asking this, because it gives me an opportunity to say it. I never want to do anything unless a talk show host asks it. One of these individuals, one of these elites, said to me one day, he said, Chaplain, we have the God-given right to do what we're doing in the world. The average person doesn't have sense enough to know how to direct their destiny. Mm-hmm. I thought about that many times after he said it. I didn't refute him at the time because I wanted to keep the door open so that I could pick his brain for the rest of the time I was on the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline. But remember now, I was sitting down on their pipeline. They were not in my church, so their defense was not up at all. And I thought about this. There are two gods in this universe. Now, bear with me for a moment. Mm-hmm. There's the true and the living God of the Bible, the one who sent his Son to die for us on the cross and purchase our salvation, the one who loves us and is preparing heaven for us. Then there's another God, spoken of in the Bible as the prince of the power of this air, the God called Satan. And they both have worshipers. Cain and Abel, they both worshipped God. One was of the devil, one was of God. You have that identical same thing today. You have the elite, whom their God is the God of this world. You have those who are born-again believers, whose God is the true and living God of the Bible, and I am so glad that I've read the last chapter, so I'll know it's coming out in the end. But they do have a God. They worship their God. They are, many of them, of the occult, and some of the things I saw when I was with these people led me to believe of some of the things that they do. They do have a code of ethics. And one of the things in their code of ethics is they must tell you everything they're going to do before they do it. Did you ever notice that before Katrina hit New Orleans, that they came out with Oil Storm, the movie, a week ahead of time?
Yeah,
and in
FX.
that movie, it told everything that was going to happen with Katrina when it hit that part of the country. They will tell you everything they're doing. They're telling you right now what they're doing. They're saying too big to fail. They're telling you that they're going to make you taxpayers pay for AIG, pay for Wells Fargo, pay for Citibank, pay for all of these things. And then our president had the audacity to go to the G20 and give $1 trillion to the IMF. The IMF is not American. The IMF is European. And your great-great-grandchildren gave, through the President of the United States of America, without any vote of Congress or approval of the people, $1 trillion to Europe?
Yeah, it is quite disgusting, my friend. I mean, a lot of people just don't even understand what... for instance, one of my buddies is a blogger out of New York City. He works for a big financial company. He does a financial blog. And I explained to him that at the G20, they announced this world currency, and he's like, I would know about this. And then I sent him the articles out of the Telegraph, and I sent him the communique out of the G20, and then I also sent him Hannity and Dick Morris talking about this one world currency and United Nations control, and his jaw just dropped, and he's like, he went on the defensive a little bit. He said, well, why is this a bad thing? And they just don't understand that the people at the top, like you said, they worship the darkness. And I think that is the biggest problem with this. The people at the top that are trying to bring in this new world order, folks, and I've said it many times on this program, they are occultists who want to rape children and do rape children. And I know that's a whole nother subject, but when you start looking at these people, that's what they're into. They want to chip us. They want to control us. They want to enslave us under this one world government. And that's if we survive, because they want to kill 80% of us. And that's scary in its own right. It's mind blowing. I mean, you think 2 months down the line when they crash out, the economy's bad. Try, 20 years down the line when the population's down to 500 million, which is their stated goal. All right, we're going to continue to take calls in these last 20 or so minutes. We're going to go to Charles in California because he dropped and came back. Charles, you're on the line with Lindsey Williams.
Hi, Jason and Lindsey. Nice to be on the line with you guys tonight.
Thank you, Charles.
I have a question for you, Lindsey. I was wondering if you know for sure. Well, you said it's from what you got from what you said. You gather it's going to be in the next 12 months to a year and a half, right?
Yes, this individual tried to tell me everything that was going to happen for the next year to year and a half.
Okay, you also said, I'm pretty sure, like a month ago or somewhere around there, that I think it was you that I heard it from first, that China stopped buying our treasury bills and the Fed's already starting to buy them. Is that true?
Yes, China is backing off from buying our treasury bills now, and of course, naturally, the OPEC oil countries are practically not buying at all because they've lost so much.
Yeah, it's amazing. They announced that a little while ago that they're going to buy. They're buying treasury bills already for the first time in a while. Yeah, I don't know. So it's I've heard you live in July saying that oil was going to go from 150 to 50, and I just wish I took your word on that, or the elite's word on that, I guess I should say, because could have made a couple 100,000 shorting oil right there. But anyway,
it's quite interesting. An oil trader called in on a radio show I was in on not too long ago, and he said, I took you at your word. A few people did. He said, I trade oil. He said, I just want to thank you. I've made $150,000 because I followed your prediction.
Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just finish up by saying, I don't know, thank you for all the work both of you guys are doing, and we got to keep spreading the word. I was very close to moving out of this country because, like the guy told you himself, he told you should move out of the country. You know what I mean? So I was...
Bottom line, man, this is a new world order. There's nowhere to run, and I love this country. I'm going to stay here no matter what and try to fix the problems. All right, let's jump to another caller. Let's go to John in Canada. John, you're on the line.
Hi, Lindsey. Hi, Jason.
How you doing?
John.
Pretty good, pretty good. Just a couple of things. We should understand that no matter what religion a person is from, they're going to argue that God is just. And if you do believe in God, God's intent is to be just. You want to form allegations against another with evidence. Okay, so it's important that it's good that Lindsey's told us that the private banks have hijacked the public's authority in issuing credit, and as the laws stand today, it's very difficult to convict them for a criminal offense in that respect, but we can convict them endlessly on stealing. They're not child rapists that stole $900 billion in property through subprime scams. AIG is committing the crime of extortion. It's in God's interest to express these ideas to truly defend ourselves. When we talk about shadow people hidden in darkness and we can't discern what their identities are, we truly have no evidence to form our allegation.
Let me say that. Hold on.
No, I can't.
Well, you'll get your chance, but before you say that, none of these guys have been, I'm not saying anybody in AIG, but all you have to do is read the Franklin cover-up. Man, I've got the videos from the 1980s, and they're going to be in my next film, Invisible Empire, of Connie Chung and Peter Jennings confirming a young callboy ring in the White House in the late 80s and early 90s. So you know what that tells me? Yeah. I mean, some of those people in power and behind those people are still in power. So I hear you on the shadow organization thing. We do try to cover the news here, but, I've got Lindsey Williams on, and he's a pastor, and he spent time with them, so I feel like I have to ask him about that occult connection. Continue.
Okay, well, I'm not saying that that's not the case. I know all about the Franklin cover-up and a
lot
of
other
dastardly deeds that have gone on. I'm saying that that's separate from the criminals at hand. We have different kinds of criminals here. They're not all part of Skull and Bones. Now, it's true. Bush closed 9/11 investigations, obstruction. He needs to be arrested for that if you truly want to defend your freedoms and get the bad guys, but you don't. You form fear, or you're fearful of true justice, and you say, well, that would be God's intent, but I don't want to really be like that because it's scary that way. And that's the fears we have to face. You know, CIA officials tell us Bush, Condi, and Cheney knew before the war started that there was no WMD. These are CIA officers, FBI officers, and they're going undefended. And that's where God's intent would rest if we truly believed in serving ourselves equitably. We want to treat everybody at Bilderberg and the CFR and the Trilateral Commission as innocent individuals until we have evidence directly implicating them for a criminal offense. And when we say otherwise, we undermine justice because we're doing what the bad guys do. And they say the Taliban did 9/11 or the people in Afghanistan did 9/11. And you know, Jason, as well as I do, there's no evidence to indicate that. But Obama's on TV just last week, or a couple of days ago, I should say, saying that exact fact. And they're not going to defend women's rights. Obama told us on TV 2 days ago, women's rights in Afghanistan are not a concern for him. He wants to go after Al-Qaeda. Who is he lying to, my friends? He's not lying. He's not successfully conning me.